Right, hello everybody, and welcome to FRL Formula Racing League's Season 16, would you believe it, of our Super Sprint Sunday. We are here at round 4 in the sunshine of Watkins Glen. And joining us, and I'm wishing him a rather belated happy birthday. Owen, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well, thank you, mate. I think my internet might still be a little bit drunk from celebrating my birthday yesterday, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it's not going to pass out and we are going to have an absolute fantastic race tonight. For Watkins Glen, round 4, let's get it.
Let's get it done. So, as you can see, as ever, Vermeulen's setting the early pace, with a few people following on. We'll just go through what you can see on the screen. So, this championship is comprised of 3 tiers: your Pro, your Silver, and your Am tiers. The Pros are the white boxes on the left, the Silver are the grey boxes, and the red are the Am boxes. In terms of grading, Pro being the fastest, Silver being the middle, Am being the either slowest or slightly less experienced. They do have individual championships to compete over, but when they hit the tarmac, they are all fighting for an overall championship as well, so there is no need to let anybody by. There is no blue flags or expectation for the lower tiers to move for the upper tiers. So yeah, it's a great formula for some great racing. Your format for this evening, I'll just show you on the right, is the free practice we're just experiencing now coming to a close, followed by a one-shot quali. The 5 minutes is a one-shot quali. They are mandated to not attempt 2 laps in that time, followed by a 20-minute race, which is set by the one-shot quali. And then we go into a second qualifying of 50 minutes, which is a bit more open, unlimited runs at the track. Oh, as we catch Malotti, we'll ride in there. And then we have race 2 of 40 minutes. Both races are sprint races. No need to pit, no need to change tyres, no need to refuel. The only time you should ever see your engineers in those time slots is if you've had a date with a barrier. So we are just coming to the close of free practice now, and you'll be seeing some fast and furious laps very, very shortly. So for those who are just joining the stream, maybe didn't hear me mention it is Retro's birthday, so in the comments, light him up, wish him happy birthday for yesterday. It is a bit belated, but show him some love.
You could show some love by, not going into the wall and giving us an absolute sensational race, but, some people lack the tools and the craft to keep all 4 wheels on the tarmac and out the barrier that Mr. Gordon Brown and Chris Gedman safely inspected multiple times whilst resetting the server before tonight, so hopefully, fingers crossed, they have passed barrier inspection. But there's quite a bit of grass on this track, so I'm sure G Brown's going to put an absolute masterclass of WRC advertisement across the grass in the first chicane, I'm no doubt. No drivers will join him as well.
I did see some brilliant WRC in the practice just before we started the stream. I saw Prentice, one of the Prentices at least, in a Lamborghini drifting through the second part of the inner loop. It was brilliant to watch, very well controlled.
Interesting to see, buddy. Just a couple of cars at the front. You've got Naisbit, Karuna, and I believe that's car number 4.
That's Harvey I've picked up.
There's quite a big tussle there just behind him. All the pro drivers fighting for that bit of tarmac just there.
Yeah, one-shot quali does put the cat amongst the pigeons. It's tough, and as you can see, there's a lot of bunches on this track. So it's not necessary, as we do seem to be getting a few yellow flags coming up as around the toe. But G Harvey is going to run us through this first instalment of a fast lap on Watkins Glen. I'm going to carry as much speed as you can, close to the wall. That's where all the extra speed is, and then power out. This Aston Martin is an absolute demon in a straight line. He's got to brake heavy downhill, crank the car out, let the car run wide. He's played it safe on this initial lap, but you can go all the way to the edge of the red and white. Go up the S's. Just think of it like going up Radion and Eau Rouge in Spa, but it's a bit more flat, a bit easier on these GT3 cars, and then open your steering up, drift over to the left hand side, and reach your top speed around about here, and then brake heavy for the inner loop. You can use so much of these curbs, but don't settle on the first one, don't settle on the second one, and then let the car swing out. Pick your line, coming around the outer loop. Power out before the corner's even finished, and then down the chute into the boot. Caress it round this inner curbing, let the car swing out wide. He's a bit more generous for himself on that outer curbing there. Now we're going to go into turn 7, the toe. You can either swing out wide and try and carry a late apex, or you can hang it tight and fly out. He looks like he's done the prior. He does have a bit of traffic ahead of him. Hopefully he gets out of the way. Car's trying to build their lap. It's a Lamborghini. That's the apprentice I mentioned. And he's going to have to get a move on. This Aston Martin is going to push him along.
There's definitely a bit of obstruction there. He's had plenty of time to let him pass. Oh no, what's this in the final corner? Scenes, no.
Oh, as we have a hit.
There was mentions about this, guys.
And that is Harvey. He's going to continue on this lap, but it's not going to be competitive after that big shunt. We are going to start off with a 145 as he sends his car into orbit. As Travaglioli does go P1. We're going to try and find Vermeulen because he regularly puts himself on pole. He does a 144.1. Looks like 494. That's Melotti who's been challenging Jazzman these last few weeks. Been getting close, but not always been able to hold on to the results. He is a little bit less troubled in the final corners. But one shot quali, when the cars aren't ghosted, is a challenge all in itself to try and get through. I imagine the admins are going to be having words with those drivers that were parked up and waiting in the final few corners. Velotti doesn't quite get close up. Travaglioli, I didn't see that before. He is so close. Less than half a tenth for him. Got 5-1-1 approaching the line. That's Cortegani, P27 at the moment. Throws himself up into P7. That's P2 currently for the silver tier. Car number 94. Where are you? So many drivers this evening, guys. Do forgive us if it takes a while to scroll through them. Got 40 drivers out on track. This is Colpitts coming towards the line. What can he do? P20 as several drivers also flourish across the line. Car 135. And this is De Wilt in a very striking coloured Porsche. What can he do? Fairly off the pace with Kokovalakis and Coppens. Goes last current runners. Car 134. This is Brown, who hasn't tested any,
but not least, obviously.
He did do a surprise second row last week in the wet. What can his Honda NSX do this time around? He's got the truck all by himself. Oh, and even then he couldn't stop himself from testing a barrier or two. Wait to see if this is kept invalid or not. I can't. And then he crosses the white line. I thoroughly believe this won't be valid.
You can push that line a little bit there on the exit, buddy. Corner is quite flat on the power. Does keep it valid.
And goes all the way to P12. So there you go. As shown by one of the admins, wall riding gains you time. Who'd have thought?
Well, like they did in NASCAR, wasn't it? I can't think of the driver off the top of my head, as we are at an American circuit. He did put his foot to the floor till he saw God or the checkered flag, and I think that's what G. Brown has just done.
Absolutely. So, we're going to go through your standings just now. So, Vermeulen, as ever, on pole, leading by a much closer margin than usual. Travaglioli, followed by Melotti, two guys that have shown a lot of promise recently. And then a little bit further back, well, quite way far back, over a second back from those leading cars, is Eden, who's done a great pole for the silver tier. Then Grace in P5, De Rit in P6. That's the second place in the silver tier. Naisbitt in P7, Nishelli in P8. Cortegani in P9, that's a P3 for silver tier. Then Heyman's also in the silver tier. Grafe is the first of outside the top 10 in P11, followed by Brown, who we saw wall riding there, followed by Filomeno and Sharp, who's leading the way for the AM tier in P14, followed by Cooters in P15. Second place in the AM tier is Jabino, who I'm never going to get used to not being a Lamborghini. Then Richings, Serpentine, Townsend P3 for the AM tier, Van der Waal in P20, Handley 21, Chumakovs, Colpitts, Thacker, Visser, Felix, Cablo, Kalugin, Robert, Coppens round out your top 30, and then Kukulakis and DeVille, the last drivers to set a time, with Karuna, Sharp, Bidlock Steve, Van Vlotten, Harvey, Prentice, Clayton, and Gedman all electing not to set a time. Maybe anticipating a bit of carnage to come. Owen.
I think you are, buddy, so just keeping my eye on the ground. And in Discord, a lot of drivers not happy with how that one-shot quali has folded. I mean, we do have Korkumlakis, who had a game disconnect or crash during that, and he can't rejoin. So whether we may possibly see something from the admin side, so he can rejoin or not, but say he cannot join without previously qualifying. So interesting to see, but we do see some of the wet stuff for the opening race, round 1, 20 minutes. So this is going to throw an absolute curveball at some of the drivers.
So
that have only brought wet setups or dry setups, but I mean, interesting spice to round 4.
So yeah, all the drivers are looking to throw it into the boot are going to need their wellies.
They are indeed, mate. They are indeed.
So yeah, whilst all these guys scramble for the last parts of their setup amendments to throw on some wet tyres, maybe take a gander at what weather is coming. There is going to be a slight lightening of the rain in about 30 minutes, but we'll be long done by then. So maybe for qualifying that might come into play.
But whether it does change though, buddy, if you do look on that top right hand corner, it does look like it's going to get heavy.